I feel like you've introed the two of these that we've already done.
I was waiting for you to put your
with
headphones
a
on.
question.
Oh, I have. What was my last question?
Can I ask you a question this time?
Oh, yeah, go for it.
Have you ever heard of Doctor Who?
We just watched 73 Yards.
Yep.
The fourth episode, which Russell
Of
Davies...
Doctor Who.
Yeah.
Season
1.
2024.
Yeah. Which, a while ago...
Said
I
the
forgot
Two
this
Stooges.
Until recently, RTD claimed episode 4 of this new season was the best episode he's ever written for the show.
I don't
Charlie.
disagree with that. Oh.
Hello?
I wouldn't disagree with that, honestly.
Yeah.
I've only just watched it. You've seen it twice.
Yeah,
You just
this was my
rewatched
second
it.
watch. I watched it last Saturday, and just now again. Yeah, fascinating stuff.
I still like. I would say I could go either way on it. I don't think that's true. I think I definitely like it. I definitely like it a lot. I don't know how much I like it,
Yeah, a lot.
but it's a lot.
Yeah,
The
yeah.
answer's a lot. It could be like a top 5 episode for me
Yeah,
by the end of this podcast.
yeah. It's just such an interesting concept, and I think for like because I do think it's flawed, but I think for so much of it, it executes it in a really fascinating and effective way, and makes really good use of this concept. And I think it's also got me really excited in the direction we're going right now with this season.
God, I'm keen for that finale now. Especially,
Yeah.
I saw RTD say in the week that he's had ideas. There's stuff in
I
this
saw
finale
this,
that
yeah.
he's had ideas for 50 years.
Yeah, which
Now,
is
that's not
insane.
true. First
Yeah,
of all,
well, yeah, probably not. To be fair,
that's it's like when you're like 8 years old and you're like, what if the Doctor fucked a pig, and then you write Black Mirror episode 1.
yeah. Which I'm gonna go cinema to watch both. Not Black Mirror,
Yeah,
Doctor Who.
2-part finale.
Yeah, really excited, genuinely.
The Legend of Ruby Rose and the other one.
But I think the opening to this it is so good because
Cold open.
like the way that starts without any intro and you instantly get the written by Russell T Davies threw me off straight away.
I thought like we'd done something wrong, like we'd
Yeah.
skipped something.
And I think that's what's fascinating me so much about this season. I feel like there are little things like that, like the fourth wall breaks, Susan twist, and then something like this, and where the Doctor is just gone.
They've been willing to get a little bit weird
Yeah.
and break down the conventions of the show.
Yeah,
Which I think makes it like kind of earn its thing as a reboot.
100%. I still don't like a lot of how the reboot was marketed, but like I think I get it. I get where it's coming from a story point as well.
I'm on a lot of like forums of people who run Plex servers for no reason, and a lot of people are real pissed off on there because it's fucked up with like uploading Doctor Who to their Plex server and having all the metadata be right and having it be organized properly.
Yeah.
Because it's getting confused between it being like season 14 or whatever and season 1.
Yeah.
Just a little fun fact for you. There's a subset of people on the internet who are having... I see it every day of just people being like, why is it fucking not working anymore?
But shall we talk about the Susan Twist cameo? Because
Yeah.
yeah,
There's always a twist at the start.
yeah. So like obviously we've been seeing her quite a bit, being the ambulances last week, and now just being a hiker apparently.
Yep.
And we get the most direct reference as to the fact that she has been popping in and out of the show. Like Ruby thinks she recognizes her and then just kind of brushes it off.
And I think it's very, like, obviously a hint.
Yeah.
Because I don't think it's on accident that it starts snowing. Like,
yeah. And I think that's like just total confirmation. Because I remember last week, which everyone knew wasn't true, but Russell T Davies, I think on the commentary track to Boom, was like, we just ran out of actors.
That's funny. I don't mind that.
Everyone's like, that's fucking bullshit. But it sounds, yeah.
But yeah, it starts snowing when Ruby runs into Susan Twist. It's unclear whether it's about the figure that's following her or if it's about Susan Twist. But she says later in this episode it never snowed again, and the figure behind her is persistent throughout it. Obviously, so it's got to be something to do with Susan Twist.
I think Susan Twist, and Ruby's mother, and maybe their links.
I think they may be the same person.
I think that's a very plausible theory. But it's a bold move to have the Doctor removed for such a long time in this episode as well.
And essentially straight after an episode where he's kind of out of commission the whole time.
Fucking Kieran. Hello.
Kieran, I think it's also pretty interesting having, like, what I felt was, and I think you picked up on this too, a pretty direct homage to the whole Toymaker being beyond the rules of whatever in the Giggle, where they say up in those hills. This turns out to be like a prank that they're talking about, but up in those beautiful serene Welsh hills. It's kind of they're basically describing the game rules from the Giggle,
and it's like, again, that felt like such almost a mirror to what was being set up in like initially in Wild Blue Yonder, and then the Giggle with the more fantasy-esque storylines. But
this is a fucking nightmare.
Yeah, like in the way they're kind of talking in the pub about it being like, I'm out like the barrier between the ocean and the land and like the unknown, like, and I like that kind of correlation that Davis put in there.
I invoked a superstition at the edge of the universe, where the walls are thin and all things are possible. Just got this feeling.
The cliff tops are a boundary between the land and the sea. A liminal space neither here nor there where rules are suspended.
There's something there. I hated this theory that this was all leading towards the Trickster. I think I have come to terms now with, like, that is the direction it's going. Or maybe not the Trickster specifically, but isn't there a pantheon the Trickster's part of?
Yeah, we're gonna end up exploring more of this group of supernatural entities that the Toymaker is a part of, Maestro, and apparently the Trickster as well.
The Maestro from Seinfeld.
I don't know who that is.
There's an episode of Seinfeld. Welcome to each week. I'm going to try and turn this into a Seinfeld discussion thing. But no, I really liked there's a few moments of very obtuse cinematography in this, especially in that pub. I loved the uneasy vibe that pub set off, and I really thought we were going to be there for the whole episode.
Yeah, I love how, because most of this episode was just that like kind of part of the episode as well. I think we only got snippets of what happens later, and it is like that first half of the episode really delves into the horror aspects of this story, and it's probably why it's my favorite part. I think the fucking figure is terrifying. I genuinely find it haunting.
It's a very Doctor Who idea.
Yeah, and the way that you can't go near it or get away from it is terrifying, but that it's just always with you, and genuinely this fucking cunt. The moment where Susan Twist's character goes up to the woman and immediately like screams and runs away, I was a bit like, okay, that's quite creepy, but okay, I don't know where this is going. And then it happens again in the pub, and the guy screams and sprints away. Genuine like chills, like, and the fact that we never find out what that is, and the fact that then, like, because those two instances are scary in itself, but then it's to the point where Ruby's own mother... I
love that it takes that idea to its logical extreme. And that shit with her mum is tough.
It really is.
That, and like, got me.
This is, like, taking Ruby to a top companion for me as well. Like, like I just think...
I feel like she's already maybe been through the most as well. Like, there's really a lot going on here.
Like, I've seen a lot of people complaining about kind of the aging up makeup, which I understand, but also I think
how are you gonna make Millie Gibson look
and also,
like 40,
she was 18 when she filmed this, which
really
is also insane considering this was her first day on Doctor Who as well. Like, she was really good.
She nails it.
Yeah, absolutely.
She's so... I have been fully sold. The first, like, 2 episodes, that's kind of and then I feel like we didn't see enough of her in Boom. This is an episode, and I feel like a lot of people may end up feeling like this. It sold me on her. I fucking love her now.
Yeah, she is great. I want to talk about the unit scene.
I would love to talk about the unit scene.
All right, you go first.
Because that's another thing that I love of it, taking this idea to its logical extreme. But I also like that it's utilizing this Doctor Who universe very, very well.
Yeah.
I said this to you, it feels like a unit spin-off is inevitable, Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. style.
Yeah, which, you know what? I was never too keen on a unit spin-off, but
I love the sound of it.
Framing it as Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., I can back that.
I love what Davies has been doing with Unit, because Unit he never used, if I'm right. He used Torchwood a lot.
No, he
Unit
did use
are
Unit.
in
Martha ends up working for Unit.
That's right. It just almost feels like a completely different organize. I think having
Kate
Kate
disappeared through Moffat's era.
Yeah, well, until like
And
Kate
then-
pops up in Day of the Doctor.
Yeah.
And I feel like that
Oh, yeah.
reinvents Unit a little bit.
Yeah. Oh, to be fair, nah.
We see him in
Capaldi
Zygon
uses them quite a
Invasion.
lot, Yeah. Yeah.
But I feel like it does feel like a reinvented company now.
Yeah, 100%.
They have Avengers Tower now.
Yeah, exactly.
I really like the utilization of Unit in this, and I feel like that's been a big thing with episodes like this.
Yeah.
Is well, where's Unit?
Yeah.
Unit's whole thing is like preventing alien shit like this. Where are they? And I liked having them come in to write them out in a way that you kind of see coming.
Yeah.
The moment where Kate's like, yeah, we got all this cool shit.
Yeah.
They're not going to get us.
Yeah.
You know immediately what's
Yeah.
coming. But I think it's useful, and it helps this world feel real.
Mm.
I think it's the most that this era has earned its whole Hooniverse shit that it's doing
Yeah.
so far.
I love the shot of when all the soldiers turn around and just look. I think that's fucking terrifying.
The fear in Kate's eyes. And I loved when her mum drove past, just looping back to this for a minute. There's a look, like we think these people are scared of her, and it's not until the mum kind of drives past in the taxi where it's like she gives her a look of real hatred.
Yeah.
It's not just fear.
Yeah.
There is a disturbed hatred there,
Yeah.
and I loved that.
Yeah, and there's something about, because I think it's framed as a reaction, the way they just run away, like it's
fight
another
or flight.
oh fuck moment.
Yeah.
Like, and they just need to get as far away as possible. And so we'll cut to this then, because this is one of the most talked about aspects. Obviously, a lot of people are kind of on the fence. They don't love how it's not explained what she says. I'm so glad we don't know.
I feel like it's very much still on the table for us to find out at
You
some
reckon?
point. I feel like this isn't, because it does feel like a retcon at the end, but I feel like we are, like, I think Doctor Who's going to start doing multiverse shit sooner
Yeah.
rather than later.
So we'll get to that in a few
Okay,
minutes.
but I think this might not be the last we hear of it, but I am probably in the same boat as you.
Yeah.
Or we don't need to know. I don't
Yeah.
particularly want to know.
Because also
I don't feel
have,
unsatisfied.
Yeah, because I have a theory with it in that how. So obviously we find out that it's Ruby when she's older, and like somehow
Yeah.
she goes back in time, but it's the thing where, like you say, it's retcon. Like the Doctor
Sorry,
is
I
now.
can't do it. You've got to come in.
Come in, mate. Because it is left quite vague in what actually happens, but like you say, it is kind of retcon, because Ruby says, "I've been to Wales 3 times," and she didn't say that at the start of the episode.
Yeah.
She says 2.
But at the Doctor later, it's like, what was the third time?
Yeah.
She's like, I guess now.
Yeah.
Which I liked.
And yeah, and to me, my theory on all of that is linked to your multiverse stuff, because I think it's a case of like timelines like kind of crashing together. I think what we saw was a timeline, because you have the line from Kate as well where she says, "I think this timeline is suspended on this event or something."
Yeah, it felt
and,
like
like-
very Loki. I've just finished watching Loki,
Yeah,
and it
yeah,
felt a bit
yeah.
Loki.
And-
Loki, sick.
and I find like, and I think with the Susan Twist stuff as well, playing a different character in a very different way in every episode, like, I think this is just a result, and I think we might get more onto it. Roger A. P. William, is that his name? Is
Something
also
like that.
mentioned.
It was
at the
it was
start
like
as well.
William or something like that.
Yeah,
He has a weird
some Welsh fucking
Gwilliam.
idiot.
I guess he is Welsh. That makes
Who
sense.
is actually quite terrifying.
He looks like Brendan Fraser. He
Yeah.
looks like he looks like Brendan Fraser in The Mummy.
Which I think that's another thing that I feel like a lot of people are having a problem with, but I don't mind it. Like, I know it feels a bit detached from where we start in the episode, but
Yeah.
I think it works. Like, I think
I like that it's detached from that. It feels like we
Yeah.
go on a real journey in this episode.
exactly. And I think as well,
It's
like,
so stupid.
yeah, it is very, it's quite over the top, because my one thing with it is how, like, would this guy really get into power with how kind of blatantly evil he is?
And he also seems completely fucking incompetent. Like, there's a bit where he's doing question time and he starts going like, "Oh, I love nuclear weapons and I'm going to buy all them." And they're like, "Oh, so you want to set off a nuclear weapon?" He's like, "Guys, cut this out. Do me a solid." He's fucking oblivious.
Yeah.
But look at who's been it. I'm not going to go there.
We know.
The last 4 prime ministers haven't been voted for.
Yeah.
So that's sick.
And yeah, so I think what this episode is going to end up being, and what they'll go back to, in the Doctor, again, activating another supernatural thing, the same as he did with the Salt and whatever. It'll be that created a branch timeline that somehow, maybe involving Susan Twist, maybe the one who waits, whoever.
Kang.
Maybe that's it.
Now that Disney, now that BBC, that Doctor Who is in bed with Disney, now that Doctor Who is passionately sucking and fucking Disney, I would love if they actually do some Loki crossover shit.
Well, we've got either Loki director or writer.
That's true.
Not next week, the week after.
And there's always a twist at the end.
Yeah, I really do think it's going like realities converging, fucking end up with a multiverse thing.
Secret Wars.
Yeah, Doctor Who Secret Wars will be. You know what?
Yeah.
RTD did Doctor Who Infinity War and Endgame in Series 4, and it ruled.
Yep.
If we hit Secret
I
Wars...
think that's a good point, actually.
I'm so excited.
Yeah. The actual thing that it comes to, the peak of it, Ruby being like, "I realise what I've got to do. Come on, you're going to help." And then that being... making the Prime Minister run away at a press conference, and so everyone assume he's resigned, and then him being confused. I think that's so stupid, and I completely understand why my dad watched this and did not like it, because it's so dumb.
Yeah,
it's funny.
But I think it's funny, and I also genuinely think it works, because for the most
I think
part,
it's such a... I don't know if it is meant to be serious or not, but that is the perfect joke to have built up for the whole episode.
I think it is, because it's obviously also commenting on our government at the moment, and
it's ridiculous, that fucking shot.
Because it creates this world-ending threat that we've ended up with since seemingly the Doctor swapped places with him, and also that's an interesting kind of topic. Where the fuck did the Doctor go? Will we find that out?
Yeah.
I don't know.
My thing that and I feel like you were going to touch on this before, and we kind of ended up skirting past it, is Ruby. It is Ruby going kind of back into when she dies. Ruby somewhat inexplicably ends up back at like the start of this all happening.
Yeah.
Why is she constantly 73 yards away specifically? Why is this her? What has like? How does this end up happening? There is like a missing explanation there. I feel like.
Yeah, and that's why I feel like theories are so like high with this at the moment, like because it leaves it so vague, and I do think it will come back. Like it feels quite standalone, but I think that ending, like, we know that political party is going to play a role again at some point. We know Susan Twist is back at least once.
It feels like there's almost one thing in every episode that they're setting up to come back to.
Yeah, but I also feel like they're building more and more. Like, I do feel like we're getting pieces. Like, it is just breadcrumbs.
I think he's set up a real ending here. I think this isn't going to just be like another season finale. This is going to be an event.
Yeah.
It going out in cinemas, I feel like, says a lot to me.
To be fair,
because we haven't seen a Doctor Who episode at all do that since Deep Breath.
Yeah.
As far as I'm aware, and that was the first episode of a new Doctor.
Yeah.
It being like it didn't happen for any of the Christmas specials, the New Year's, the 60th. It didn't happen with, as far as I'm aware. So it feels like there's something here.
Yeah.
I don't know what that is, but I'm interested.
Yeah. Well, join us next week for probably my least anticipated episode.
It looks bad. I don't like the look of this. It looks like that Black Mirror 15 Million Merits episode.
I've
if
heard
it was
it's a Black Mirror-esque episode to a fault.
It looks like my issue with every episode of Black Mirror is the first like 5 minutes I'll spend going, okay, this is a cool premise, and then immediately after it's like, but not if you do it like this.
Yeah.
And I feel like I'm going to feel that from second one of this episode.
Yeah. Thank you so much for watching. Like I say, join us next week.
Like, comment, and subscribe.
Yeah.
Don't
Bye.
say like weird ass fucking bullshit about how woke Doctor Who is now, by the way. It's weird. It's fucking stupid. The comment I want to start. I actually do, because I want to start a fight. I want to kill a man via YouTube.
Bye.
I love you.